Today you're going to learn the key reasons why some men make women eager to go on a date with them and feel sexual attraction from the very first meetings, while others get no dates at all, or women disappear after 1 or 2 meetings and don't want anything more with those men. And then there are those who women see only as friends. They accept their attention, their help, but they don't feel any sexual desire for them. Now, I know many men think that the main factor is money. Some even comments on my videos saying something like, if you like a woman, just swipe your credit card and she'll give it up. Of course, it's a joke, but it reflects a very common mindset that success with women is all about having money. But that's a mistake. There are plenty of men who have money and try to attract women by showering them with expensive gifts and extravagant dates. But instead of sex and relationships, these men often hear something like, "You're great, but I just didn't feel that spark." So how do you create that spark? How do you become the kind of man women are drawn to? The kind of man who can easily and quickly attract them and make them fall for him. First, forget the idea that you need to spend money on women to win them over. That leads nowhere. Second, start doing exactly what I'm about to tell you in this video. Look, for a woman to want to go on a date with you, she needs to feel both trust and emotional attraction. We as men feel attraction to a woman instantly, just by looking at her. That's how we're wired. But for a woman, it's different. She needs to feel emotional attraction first to build a connection with you. And that depends on how you interact with her, and to some extent, how you present yourself. Let's say you meet a woman at a social gathering, or there's a woman at your workplace who you find attractive. A lot of men immediately become needy. They smile too much, they act overly eager, they try too hard to be nice, and women sense this. Instinctively, it repels them. So how should you interact with a woman you're interested in? Whether it's at work, at the gym, or anywhere else. You don't need to be rude or cold, as some might think. What you need is what I call polite indifference with a touch of sexuality. What does it mean? It means that for the first hour or so, you interact with her just as you would with any other colleague or acquaintance, someone you don't have a romantic feeling for. And what does it mean to add a touch of sexuality? It means subtly but clearly letting her know that you find her sexually attractive. If you do this tactfully and smoothly, she will gradually start feeling aroused herself. In a moment, I'll explain exactly how to do this, because if you immediately show her that she has won you over, that you need to be with her, she will instinctively want to pull away. Why? Because your feelings for her are already strong. She's beautiful, you're smitten, but she hasn't developed those feelings for you yet. And this is the biggest mistake most men make. When they like a woman, they start broadcasting serious intentions, when in reality, at this stage, they should be subtly expressing sexual attraction, not showing her that she's completely won them over and that they want a relationship. This is where the key psychological difference between men and women comes into play. Men fall in love with appearance. If a woman is beautiful, you automatically start wanting her and you can fall for her quickly. But for women, a man's looks don't play the same defining role. What's far more important is how she feels when she's around him. How he behaves, how he talks to her. If she doesn't feel excitement and sexual attraction through your actions and your interactions, she will never want a relationship with you. Think about how many times you've heard a woman say things like, "You're so nice, but I see you just as a friend." Or, "I love spending time with you, but I just didn't feel that spark." That spark is the sexual attraction and excitement that you failed to create. And why? Because instead of building sexual tension, you were trying to show her that you wanted a relationship. You need to understand one very important thing. It is completely okay to show a woman that she excites you sexually, but showing her that you're already emotionally attached and want a relationship, that's what you shouldn't do until you see clear signs that she has the same feelings for you. And this usually happens after sex. That's why flirting and playful sexual teasing are crucial. Some might say, I flirted with women before and it didn't work out. The reaction was bad. And in almost every case, that means one of two things. First, you rushed into it too soon before you built enough trust and emotional connection. Or second, you made your flirting too crude and explicit instead of slowly warming her up. Now, let's break down exactly how and when to introduce sexual tension into your conversations with women. If you immediately start doing it within the first few minutes, especially in a workplace setting, she won't understand you. At the beginning of any interaction, your main focus should be on building trust and creating an attractive image of yourself in her eyes. Trust is built by immersing her in emotions, and it's very easy to do that once you understand one key rule. Facts don't create emotions. You should use vivid descriptions to do that. And here's where many men make a mistake. They overload a woman with dry facts and ask fact-based questions. For example, if you tell a woman, I play guitar, you're simply giving her a fact, nothing more. A much better way to say it would be something like this. You know, playing the guitar for me is like meditation. In the evenings, I play something just for myself, and I feel all the stress of the day melt away. It's like with every chord, I sink deeper into calmness. See the difference? When you just say, I play guitar, that's boring and purely informational. But when you describe how it makes you feel, when you create a mental picture, you're making her experience an emotion. This subconsciously makes a woman feel trust toward you. Because what are women most afraid of? Unstable, dangerous men who might harm them. But when she imagines you playing guitar, feeling peaceful and relaxed, it helps her feel at ease with you very quickly. And this comfort is what makes a woman open up to the idea of going on a date with you. The same principle applies to the questions you ask her. With the right approach, you can very quickly build trust with a woman and leave her with a positive impression of you. So, how do you do this? The most important thing is not to stick to surface level questions. Instead, ask her questions that bring out emotions. For example, let's suppose you find out that she likes movies. You could ask her, what's your favorite genre? But that would only get you a dry, factual answer like, I like comedies. A better approach is to ask her, is there a movie you could watch over and over again? She'll likely respond by mentioning a movie she loves and maybe start talking about it. Then you can go even further and amplify her emotions by asking things like, what makes that movie special for you? Which scene impressed you the most? Who's the most interesting character in this movie? When she answers, she's reliving positive memories in her mind. And it's those mental images and emotions that create a deep emotional connection between you and her. Now, I know that for many men, this style of conversation feels unnatural. I used to feel the same way, like it was something completely foreign to me. That's because as men, we're used to communicating through facts, not emotions. But think about it. How often has a woman in your life, whether an ex, and female friend, or maybe even your sister, bombarded you with follow-up questions when you were trying to give a short, simple answer? You wanted to respond briefly, but she kept asking and asking for more details. That's because women love descriptions. They care about details, about visuals, about how something feels, not just the basic facts. So if you learn to share your experience in a way that paints a picture and evokes emotions, like in the guitar example I gave earlier, it will instantly make you more attractive to women. And if you also learn to ask the right questions that immerse women in their own emotions, something incredible happens. Even if just 30 minutes ago she saw you as a complete stranger, she'll suddenly feel a strong connection and trust towards you. And that is when she will start responding positively to you introducing sexual tension into your interactions. Now, if you want to go deeper into how to quickly create emotional trust on the first date so that a woman becomes fully comfortable with sexual escalation, then read this post on my Telegram channel. You'll find the link in the description and in the pinned comment below this video. Now, let's discuss how to introduce sexuality into your conversations with women. Because if you want a woman to desire sex with you and eventually fall for you, she needs to feel aroused first. You must understand this. If you continue talking to a woman in a purely PG-13 way. Even if the conversation is warm and deep, she will see you as a friend. You will be turned on by her beauty, but she gets turned on by how you interact with her. So how do you turn her on after you've already built trust? First, here are the signs that she's ready for you to introduce sexual tension into the conversation. First, she's physically closer to you than when you first met. Maybe at first you were walking with a bit of a distance between you, but now she's significantly closer. Second, you're making frequent eye contact. Her face is relaxed and she smiles at you from time to time. Third, she's answering your questions in detail and seems genuinely interested in you. If you see these signs, trust is established. Now it's time to introduce sexual tension into your conversation. How do you do this? Let's break it down. We can divide introducing sexual tension into 3 phases. The first phase is light flirting. It's when you introduce slightly suggestive topics into the conversation. Second phase is showing that you find her sexually attractive. And the third is escalating physically, leading up to kissing and beyond. So let's start with the first phase. How to introduce light sexual topics into the conversation. It's actually easier than you think. All you need to do is share a story with a subtle sexual undertone and then ask her a question to involve her in the discussion. For example, here's something I used to say on the first dates after I had already built emotional trust with a woman. My best friend once told me that his girlfriend confessed her love for him during their first time having sex. Do you think confessions like that during great sex should be taken seriously? To make sure this doesn't come across as random, you can ease to the topic by asking her something about relationship first. For example, you could ask, at what age did you have your first relationships? For example, you could ask her, at what age did you have your first serious relationship? And what did you like most about that guy? Then, using her answer as a bridge, you can introduce the topic about confession during sex. So what are you actually doing with this approach? First of all, you're breaking the invisible wall between normal conversation and sexual conversation. You're subtly setting the tone that talking about sex is normal between you two. Secondly, you're beginning to turn her on. Understand that female arousal works differently from male arousal. For us, arousal is like a light switch. You see an attractive woman and boom, you're turned on. But for women, arousal is more like a kettle slowly heating up. It builds gradually. So, in order for her to reach the same level of desire that you feel toward her, you need to gradually introduce these light sexual themes into your conversations. The key is to alternate between slightly spicy conversations and normal, comfortable emotional discussions. This balance allows her to slowly build arousal and eventually be ready for physical escalation. Now, how do you know when she's ready? A clear sign is when she actively engages in these light sexual conversations. But what if she doesn't engage or tries to shut it down? Don't panic. Most likely, one of two things happened. Maybe you moved too fast. You didn't build enough trust before introducing sexual topics. Or maybe you were too explicit. Instead of subtle, playful teasing, you made things too direct. If you want to understand how to build trust faster and get more examples of smooth sexual teasing, check out my Telegram channel in the link below. In that post, I break down how to create deep emotional connection within just 30 minutes of a first date, so that a woman is fully comfortable and open to sexual tension. So, what should you do next once a woman is engaged in light sexual conversation? The next step is to show her that you find her sexually attractive. This is crucial. A woman needs to understand that you see her as a desirable woman, not just a conversation partner. This will increase her arousal even more because now, in her mind, she'll start to wonder how far this is going to go. That sense of mystery and anticipation will make her even more attracted to you. These are the exact feelings she wants to experience with a man. These are the emotions she won't feel when you're just being a nice friend, giving her gifts or solving her problems. And then, later, when you confess your feelings to her, she'll tell you, I just didn't feel that spark. Why? Because you missed the most critical step. There's a saying, strike while the iron is hot. The same principle applies to building attraction. If you spend the first few meetings talking to a woman like a friend, she will start to see you as a friend. Then later, when you suddenly try to escalate sexually, she will reject it because She already categorized you as just a friend. This is exactly why it's so important to introduce sexual tension early on so you don't get put into the friend zone. And if you do this the way I'm explaining now and follow the steps I'll share in a moment, she will develop a spark of attraction for you. She will want you, she will desire sex with you, and then she will fall for you. Okay, so let's discuss how do you let a woman know that you see her as sexually appealing? How do you show her that you're not just engaging in flirty banter, but that she is actually turning you on? The simplest way is through touch. For example, you could take her hand or gently pull her in for a side hug. At this point, since you've already built trust and introduced light sexual conversation, she will feel comfortable with your touch. However, to make it feel as natural as possible, it's best to create a reason for touching her. For instance, if you want to take her hand, pay attention to something unique about her hands. Maybe she has a nice manicure or an interesting ring or a bracelet. Comment on it, and while doing so, take her hand in yours to get a closer look. Then, while still holding her hand, you could say something like, "You have really soft skin." At the same time, you gently stroke her hand and keep holding it. Meanwhile, continue talking to her in a warm, relaxed tone. Remember, warmth and emotion come not from exchanging facts, but from painting vivid pictures with your words. I know this might sound complicated at first. That's because I'm trying to give you the entire roadmap to attraction in one video. If you're feeling a bit overloaded, don't worry about that. I recommend you to rewatch this video from time to time. And also, I'll include timestamps in the description so you can quickly find the part you need. And don't forget to check out my Telegram posts on how to create emotions in conversations and how to escalate sexual attraction smoothly. This will help you internalize this process until it becomes natural and effortless. So you take her hand, compliment her soft skin, and gently caress it while continuing your conversation. At this point, she clearly understands that you find her attractive. But what if you're not sitting next to her? What if you're walking together or in a setting where holding her hand isn't convenient? There are many ways to communicate your sexual attraction without touch. For example, you could say something like, "The way you play with your hair looks really sexy." Or something like, "Your smile is really seductive, it's turning me on." These kinds of comments clearly communicate to her that you're attracted. And that's something most men never do on dates. Why? Usually because they've had a bad experience in the past. But if you follow the structure in this video, and if you first build trust and emotional connection, then gradually introduce light sexual topics, in that case, comments like these will fit perfectly into the conversation. And in response, you'll notice that she smiles more, blushes slightly, or even says something flirty back to you. These are great signs that it's time to move to the final step of physical escalation. And let me tell you how to smoothly move from flirting to kissing and having sex. So let's say you're sitting together at a cafe. Of course, you should never sit in front of her. You always should sit next to her. Otherwise, it would be impossible for you to escalate the sexual tension between you. So, okay, you're sitting next her, and you took her hand, and now you should just turn your head and lean closer to her neck to smell her perfume. Let's say she has some perfume on her, or even if she doesn't use any perfume, you can just smell her hair because she may use some shampoo with good smelling. After that, kiss her lightly on the neck. Then move on and kiss her on the cheek. And after that, just gently turn her face towards you and kiss her on the lips. Finally, deepen the kiss. And if you followed all the steps correctly, if you've successfully built trust, engaged her in light sexual conversation, and shown your attraction to her, then at this point, she's fully warmed up and ready to kiss you back. Now, what if something goes wrong? What if she seems hesitant or pulls away? Relax. Most likely, one of two things is happening. Either you didn't build enough trust or light sexual tension before trying to escalate, or she's just a bit shy or reserved. In either case, it's not a failure. Even if she hesitates, resists sexual conversation, or pulls away slightly, you can still recover the situation. However, every situation is different. I cannot cover every possible scenario in just one video, so make sure to read my Telegram post where I go into even more depth about attraction and escalation on dates. Now, let's move on to the next step. How to smoothly invite a woman back to your place. There's a simple but highly effective way to do this. This works both if you've already kissed her and if you haven't yet, but have successfully built trust and sexual tension. First, learn about her preferences and connect them to something at your place. For example, if she loves Italian food and you have everything at home to make amazing pasta, use that as an excuse to invite her over. Or if she's into board games and you have a great collection at home, use that as a reason to continue the evening at your place. To make these invitations effective, you need to think ahead strategically. While talking to her, ask smart questions to learn about her interests. In that way, you can figure out what you have at home that could serve as a natural reason to invite her over. And here's a crucial point. Even if you've had a hot conversation and things are going well, a random invitation to your place, especially if it's just for sex, will probably get rejected. But if your invitation aligns with her interests, she'll be far more likely to say yes. Okay, now that she's come over, use the setting to naturally escalate things. For example, if you're cooking together, then compliment her, make playful, flirty comments and find excuses to touch her while preparing the food. Then, while eating, suggest doing an interlocking arms toast with wine, where you both cross arms and take a sip. This naturally brings you closer and can smoothly lead to a kiss. Or you could, for example, buy yourself a star projector, bring her to your bedroom and invite her to watch the stars. Just lie down next to her while watching the ceiling projection. From there, you can slowly start escalating, getting closer, touching her and kissing her. Now, an important note, if at any point she resists moving forward, simply take one step back. Spend more time in comfortable, emotional conversation, then try again later when she's more relaxed. One thing to remember, if she accepts your invitation and comes to your place, she already understands that sex is a natural and expected possibility. She might just not want to seem too easy. But if you get upset, frustrated, or stop leading the interaction, nothing will happen. Or if you try to push forward aggressively, she'll feel uncomfortable and leave. However, if you stay calm and let things flow naturally, or step back when needed and move forward again when the moment is right, then you will have sex with her. And remember, if you want a real relationship, the best way is to first have sex and then let the emotional connection grow. In fact, the most reliable way to start a relationship is to sleep with her first and then let feelings develop naturally. Why? Because sex strongly intensifies a woman's emotions toward a man. It takes her feelings to another level, making her want to spend more time with you and be close to you. If instead you confess feelings first, give gifts and try to win her over before intimacy, you won't become the man she desires. You'll be seen as a nice guy or a friend, not a lover. This is why so many men get stuck in the friend zone. This is not about manipulation or tricking a woman. It's about helping her experience the emotions she actually wants to feel. Not friendship, not admiration, but romantic and sexual desire. Regular meetings with sex are the fastest way to create these strong emotions. And do you know the surest sign that she wants a relationship with you? It is when she is the one who asks, "So, what are we?" This moment happens not because you brought her flowers or solved her problems, but because you made her feel deep attraction, desire, and connection. When she asks this question, you can be sure that she has real feelings for you and wants to be with you. Once you're already together and she's emotionally attached to you, then you can give her flowers, gifts, and romantic gestures. Because at that point she values you as a man and wants to be with you. But if you do these things too soon, before she's developed real feelings, she will value what you do, but not who you are. This is a subtle but very crucial difference. And here's another key point. A relationship only works if both partners invest equally. One of the biggest reasons men lose women is because they give 90% of the effort while the woman gives only 10%. To keep attraction strong, you need to balance the dynamic in the relationship. I talk more about this in my Telegram post, so if you want to go deeper, read the ones with the hashtag relationships. I post on Telegram almost daily, while YouTube videos take a lot more time to produce. This video you're watching now is a step-by-step guide on sexual escalation, how to move from first conversation to intimacy. Save this video and rewatch the key sections using the timestamps. And one more thing, if you want to know 5 crucial mistakes that will leave you without any chances with a woman, even if you know how to escalate sexual connection, watch this video here. See you there. Bye bye.